Hi everyone, Kay Berkner here today with Dr. Phelan, author and creator of 123 Magic and the author of the Manager Mom Epidemic. Dr. Phelan, welcome.
Good morning, Kay.
How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty well.
Good, glad to hear it. So today we are going to, obviously with 123 Magic, we've got counting, which is what we use to stop obnoxious behaviors. And then the other side of that is encouraging good behaviors, which we do not use counting for using the 123 Magic system. So I know you've got a few strategies that you discuss when it comes to encouraging good behavior. And, there's one that you feel is really powerful. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and that would be praise. It's in some ways very familiar, but in many other ways very neglected tactic. It's one that parents often more naturally use with the little kids, and then they stop doing it almost altogether with their teenagers and with their spouses. It gets kind of difficult, but it's praise. It's acknowledging verbally or non-verbally that you are pleased with what somebody else did, and it really is strong. And like I said, we just don't do it as much as we should.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you give us some examples of both verbal and nonverbal praise that you might use for, let's say, a 7 or 8-year-old, since we're, talking about how we use it a little bit less as kids get older?
Sure. Yeah, you imagine you have a little girl, she's 8 years old, she's working on her homework and it involves handwriting. And so you look at what she's doing and you say, wow, your handwriting is coming along really well. Okay, that would be example of verbal praise. Example of nonverbal praise would be while she's doing that, you come up and you say, put your hand on her shoulder. And maybe you don't say anything at all, or maybe you just say that looks really good or something, but that would be a nonverbal praise in addition to the verbal praise. But it's acknowledging that she's making you feel good by her behavior at that moment.
Terrific. So why is it that we kind of tend to stop using praise? Obviously, with small children, oh, you said the word ball, good job. We can be very effusive. Why is it that we sort of start to use it less as kids get older?
I think one of the reasons is expectations that as they get older, you expect them to be, expect you to do your homework, expect you to get up and out, and expect you to eat your dinner and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of people in the United States, and I guess all over the world, have an idea in their heads, why should you praise anybody for doing what they're supposed to be doing in the first place? And we forget that these are little kids who are still growing up, and praise is very effective in establishing and maintaining positive behavior. So we need to acknowledge it, and little kids do that. Another thing, though, is when the kids get older, and we're talking about the teens that we were talking about before, they really are, they look almost adult-like. And so you think, why should I be praising you? You look like you're an adult. But the other thing is that teens do irritating things to parents, like snub them. You say, how was your day? They say, fine. You say, what'd you do? They say, nothing. That's the adolescent snub. It's a very normal thing, but it's irritating. And so when the adolescents are pulling away from us and, talking to their peers all the time and sort of ignoring mom and dad, we think, oh, I'm not you don't praise me, I'm not praising you, fair is fair. And we just kind of drop the ball, which is very sad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think even as adults, we appreciate praise and that sort of positive interaction.
Definitely true. Definitely true.
So what types of things should parents be using praise for in order to sort of help encourage these good behaviors and continue to build strong relationships with kids?
Yeah, well, as you were mentioning before, we use for obnoxious behavior, we're not going to use praise. Now, you could praise a child if they stopped whining, but basically we use counting for obnoxious behavior, but to get the kids to do the good things. So if they're eating their dinner, say, wow, you look like you're really hungry. Or if they're doing their homework, wow, you're putting a lot of effort into that. Or this morning, boy, you got ready in record time. You had that book bag packed and you were out the door, and wow, I was so proud of you. That's great. So be anything that's a positive behavior that you see them doing, you want to acknowledge. And you're not going to do it every single time, but you want to remember to do it, fairly frequently.
Yeah. And is there a right or a wrong way to deliver praise?
There is. there's a notion, I call it tailoring praise to the receiver. So you have some kids who like syrupy, gooey praise. Oh my gosh, and your spelling, it's just amazing. I can't believe it. We're going to fax it. We're going to send it to grandma in Florida. This is just a wonderful thing. And some kids will eat that up with a spoon. The phrase good job, which gets maligned a lot, good job, that's kind of gooey and so on, but it can also be effective. But there's some kids, especially when they get older and especially teenagers, who don't like gooey, syrupy praise. What they like is they like more business-like praise, or wow, you put a lot of effort into that. Or, I really appreciated your helping me with the kitchen. Good job, good work. Something like that. And so you, with a gooey kid, a gooey receiver, you can give business-like or gooey praise. With a business-like receiver, you don't want to give gooey because you'll embarrass them and you'll wind up embarrassing yourself.
Fair enough. So just kind of understanding your child and how they want to be talked to, and what really is going to make a difference for them, because the reason that you're praising is to indicate to them that they've done well and that that they're doing a good job, and so making sure that they're hearing it that way.
Right. And you think sometimes if you have two choices, you're not doing what I'd like you to do. I could nag you, okay, or I could wait till you do it and praise you, or whatever. But usually the praise in the long run is going to be more effective than the nagging.
Yeah, absolutely. So in 1, 2, 3 Magic, you talk about 2 things that parents can do to make praise even more effective. Can you share what those 2 things are?
Yeah, one is praise in front of other people. So your child's there and you say, wow, you should have seen Melissa on the soccer field today. The other kids didn't know what hit them. And Melissa, your daughter, is standing right there. That's called bragging. Some people say, oh, I don't want to brag about, oh, just be quiet, just do it. Just brag in front of your kid and brag in front of somebody else. The other thing is unexpected praise. So your son's up and he's playing his guitar in his room and you call up there and you say, hey, Jason. He says, what? You say, did I tell you what a good job you did cutting the grass today? Now, when you said, hey, Jason, he might have been expecting something else, negative, but it's unexpected. It comes out of the blue. And kids remember that. And, as you were saying just a minute ago, too, unexpected and in front of other people applies to praising spouses and partners, too. So you do it, praise your spouse in front of, boy, the meal that Sherry made the other night was just tremendous, or something like that. And it's much appreciated, I guarantee you.
Fantastic. Well, this has been really great. Thank you so much, Dr. Phelan. If you are interested in learning more about how you can use praise to encourage good behavior and build strong relationships with your kids, Dr. Phelan is going to be doing a free seminar on that next week. So head on over to 123magic.com to get signed up for our newsletter so that you'll see that registration link when it comes out. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.